I'm gonna do a quick backtesting video. I've done one before on the channel, but I like to backtest whenever I have time to. It's the best way to gain confidence in your strategy and reading price action, which in my opinion is the most important um, thing to develop, the most important skill to develop when trading to find an edge. There's all types of indicators, EMAs, technical analysis tools, fibs. Um, but whenever you're just looking at pure price action, that's where you learn how the market moves and where the areas where it's going to accelerate, decelerate, and that's how I like to pick the trades I enter. So in this video, this is my back testing charts, so they're going to be messy. These aren't the charts I actually trade off of. So I'm just going to pick a random pair. Let's go to pound New Zealand dollar, and we are going to go back to a year that I have not back tested before. I'm going to try not to look. Let's just go back to 2015 and try not to look. So this is the bar replay on TradingView, which is what I'm using to backtest here. So what that did was it deleted all the info, all the data from where I put the bar replay start at. So let's go forward to 2015, and that's close enough. Okay, so when starting out in back testing, what I like to do is put in the most relevant support and resistance lines to price action without making the chart too cluttered. And so I'm just gonna pretty much not talk very much and just go through how I would normally back test. Okay, a lot of times on these, I go through 28 pairs every day. I trade 28 pairs, so it may take 2 or 3 months for a trade on this. We're just going to go through and see what price is doing. Okay, so here it's forming a trend line here. It is on a downtrend. It's making lower lows, lower highs, and it did form a double bottom here. So right here, price could break out of this trend line and come back and retest it. Let's see if there's this is a mediocre line at best, but if there's a deceleration candle here, I could be looking for a short. Okay, so it broke it. So now and again, this is just how I go through and back test, just reading price action. This is how I draw on my charts too. I do it as I go every week, kind of clean them up. These lines down here aren't as relevant. That's why I just deleted that one. Prices up here, I like to keep them pretty clean. I don't want to have 4 lines. Let's see. So this is a pretty decent level up here around 2.09. Maybe a little higher. So this could come back down and retest. I'm not liking a short here yet. So this looks pretty good for a short. It had come up, it's decelerated for a while. I think it has room to pull back to here. So we're going to call this a short trade. And again, I am just using the daily chart for back testing. I have not found a way to back test on TradingView and use multiple time frames. In a real world trade, I would be using the 1 hour chart to confirm this short right here and see what's happening, which on the 1 hour chart, it's probably consolidating since it's been doing this for, 6 days. And you can go back to this time. You can write down where you put your trade, the date. So this is February 9th. You can see that down here. It'll show the date down here whenever you're scrolling. So that's February 9th is right here where I'm entering short. So you can go back and look at the 1 hour chart and see what it was doing. But if I did that right now, it wouldn't show my bar replay. So just for simplicity, we're going to see how this plays out. And that would have been taken out for a loss, most likely, depending on the trading size. So it did eventually come down. So it eventually did come down to this area. Again, with the lower time frames, you can size your trades, find the edge to the downside. But honestly, this is would have been pretty choppy on the 1 hour. But let's just keep going. Let's see. Okay, so now and what I think is about to happen is it's just going to go through this range, and until it breaks this line or this line, it's probably just going to be choppy. Okay, so it broke down. So now it has formed a new lower low, and there's some room. It could decelerate on this trend line. Okay, so this is no longer a relevant trend line. It's not respecting it. This line is still, it's just I'm going to delete it because this is a cleaner range, and I would like to see some more deceleration here for a long. It's been coming down for quite some time. So again, the 1 hour chart is where it would really help to see, but I'm liking this for a long. So we'll call that a gain. So we've got 1 loss and 1 profitable trade. I would have probably already been taken out of this considering this 50 MA and that that other line that I had in before. It was around this area, I believe. The one I just deleted, it is respecting that again. So I'm going to keep going through this, but really this is trying to learn price action and seeing the areas where you think it is going to go long or short. For me, I would want to be using the 1 hour chart for sizing these trades up. But we're just going to keep going and see. So now what I'm really wanting is price to break out of something and retest. I'm not interested in going long again here because it did form this lower high. So it looks like we're just still respecting this range that we have. You could go short here because of these candles right here. They're very large, bullish. They're called a bullish engulfing candle, and it's just a lot of momentum. So there's a lot of acceleration here. So picture throwing a ball. It's got a lot of speed. It's going to take more force to slow it down. So I'm going to need to see a little bit more deceleration to be interested in a short here. And the momentum, as you can see there, it's still going. So I like that though, how it's breaking out of this range. So now let's delete these lines and see what else is going on up above it. So really nothing super clean. Again, how I like to use the 1 hour chart for sizing up my trades and timing them. A lot of times on these support and resistance lines, if you go to the weekly chart or the monthly chart, you'll be able to see a clearer picture of what's going on. But again, for this video, I'm just going to throw one in right here. It's kind of rough. It was respected here and then broke out and failed. So I don't even know if that's close to where price. No. So we'll leave it in there. We'll just keep going. What I'd like to see is a pullback and some deceleration here, some nice candlesticks for a long. And now it's just getting choppy. I don't like when price doesn't move. Okay, so let's see what else we got. And again, this was not a planned video, but this is what you need to do. You need to just go through and play with charts and see what price is doing. And I hope that this video is kind of showing y'all this is how you gain confidence in the market and how price reacts. And again, we started in 2015. This is mid-year, and I've only taken 2 trades. One was for a loss, one was for profit. But I guarantee you that trade I took that was for profit would have been a higher risk-free. I would have gained more than the loss on the other one. I always risk 1%. So the first trade would have been a 1% loss, and the second trade would have been at least a 3% gain. You don't know that without using the lower time frames to size the trade, which again I can't do on this software. Okay, so I like this level right here. If it were to come down and retest this area, this 0.22, and come back and retest this 50 EMA, if there was some nice support and resistance here, then this would be a decent short, but there's really not any price around that area. See, this is back in 97. This data is not reliable. This is. I have no problem using data from early 2000s. That's fine with me. Let's go back. Okay, so that's not a real line. I was just seeing this right here is really the next area. So let's see what happens. I like this for a short. There's just nothing, it just needs to come up a little more to hit some of that price, that historical price. Okay, so here it's kind of forming a lower or a double top right here. So even without the historical price, whenever it's just trending up strong, you need to hit some structure to decelerate. Right here it's forming its own double top, but the momentum is still to the upside. So without seeing the lower time frames, I wouldn't want to take that short. So this is good deceleration here, where it's forming these smaller candles after it's been coming up for so long. And let's see. There's obviously a small trend line here, nothing crazy. I am going to lower this down to here. So we did break out of a small triangle here. So now it came up and retested that area I was talking about. And again, this is why your charts on your daily, on your active charts where you're looking for trades, you don't need to keep lines in there. The lines are going to change and you need to start over fresh. Fresh whenever price respects a new line, or like this line here that it's not really respecting it. It could still be breaking out and retesting it, but let's see what happens. I'm wanting it to come down, break this trend line again, maybe even the 50 EMA. Okay, so now this is looking good for a short. Now again, right now we're not using the lower time frames, which are very helpful for timing these types of trades. I may have already missed this trade, but since I can only see the daily chart, I'm going to have to wait for a retest. I don't want to enter right now because it's already the value I'd be entering down here. It could just keep going down, but I'd like for it to come back and retest an area, and then I can look for a short. Yeah, it looks like we missed it. But again, whenever you can use the lower time frames, I probably would have been able to catch that trade. Let's see, I don't think there's any price really in here. I don't really like that line. But the 50 EMA, which I like to keep in, hasn't really been acting as support or resistance, but it has been above it for so long and finally broke it. I like this for a short. This right here, because it did break and came back and retested. So let's call this a short. And look, we're in November. We started at the beginning of 2015. I think I kept saying 2016, but we were doing 2015. So let's see how this plays out. And we would have been taken out. So that did eventually play out. So that is almost the end of the year. We almost did a whole year. I'm just really not liking, there's no structure here in the past 3 years. This probably was not the best pair to use as an example, but this is looking like a good short here. Let's see how that plays out. Just chopping around. But this was just a quick example that I hope y'all can use this method to go through and just pick a random pair. It is better to pick clean pairs with clean price action, especially when you can just utilize the daily chart. But this is how I go through and backtest. And this is what will help you gain confidence in what price is doing. So all my entries there were not profitable, but I got to learn this pair and how it was moving and could call where it's going to go short or long, and that is the benefit of backtesting. So go through, pick your pairs, use TradingView or another whatever charting software you have. Hopefully it has a backtest feature. Again, this is replay feature right here. Here's the toolbar for it. And you need to be backtesting to gain confidence and learn how price moves. So this is how I do it. Don't necessarily get hung up on the actual trades that you take because it won't be sized up like real life. But like I said, you can mark down those days that you took, and you can go back and look at the lower time frames afterwards and study where you could have entered, what the risk reward would have been. Maybe it was a trade that you picked on the daily chart that you wouldn't have liked on the 1 hour, and you need to know the reasons why you would have liked it or wouldn't have liked it. So this video went longer than I wanted to. I was just trying to do a quick one on backtesting, but I hope that helps y'all in how I do it. If y'all have any questions, just comment below.